guys are here for Indy, is that right? Yeah. Cool. I'll just grab this and we'll run through this first. How have you guys been, alright? We'll jump in here. Cool, so the first thing we'll run through will just be the e-collar. So if you guys grab a seat there, and then we'll go through your guys' house management, and then we'll just bring Indy in and we'll do some training with him and show you guys how to control him and things. After that, we're going to shoot down and we've got class running. He's doing a lot better with dogs. He's doing really good with all his obedience and stuff, so he's quite easy to manage now. So yeah, everything should be pretty easy for him. So this is the remote collar. So there's a button on the back there. L means on, off. It also stands for light, which I'll show you later on. So if you hold that down, it'll go off, and then hold it down again, it'll turn on. Cool. To turn the collar on is separate. So see that little red button there? There's a little red button there. Cool. That red to red, green on, red off. Yeah. Cool. Have you guys felt this one? Did I show you it? No. Okay. That's alright. Just initially, most people freak out. So I'll do it on myself first. So this is on I'll do it on about a 15. So it goes up to 100. A 15 is it feels like a little short kind of sharp pinch on my arm. It's not sore or anything, but it's like I can feel it. Yep. So I'll let you just have a little feel, just so you kind of know what it is. And I like everyone to feel it so they're kind of aware. Yep. Can you feel that? Yeah. So it's tingly. Yeah. So it's not
strange,
it's strange. So what we've done is we've taught him how to shut that off. Okay, so he fully understands what it means. He's comfortable with it. So when you put the collar on him, you don't get a change in him whatsoever. It's not like you put the collar on and he's like, oh, this thing again. Yeah. It's kind of like, can you feel that? Yeah. So it's not major. That's obviously a 15. It does go up. Okay, obviously if you're on the max level, like I've done the max level on my neck, it is quite strong, just to kind of give a bit of an indication of what it feels like for the dog, but it's in context to what's going on. So for example, if he was, let's say, well not him, but another dog was lunging and barking at something through a fence line or something and he was trying to bite someone, the level would probably escalate to match the intensity in the dog. Okay, so it's just, think about that level there matches the dog's intensity. It's got 800 meters of range. So you're probably not going to run, I've never run out of range on them. Waterproof, this thing floats. You can use this in the water too. So it doesn't intensify the current or anything. You've got spare prongs here. These ones are for longer dogs, so more for German Shepherds. So he's quite short coat, so you won't need them, but it's there if you're, I don't know, get a German Shepherd. So this is your shock button. So that'll give out the current. This is your dial. This goes up and down. So can you see on that level there? If you just have a little fiddle with that, it's a little bit stiff because it's new, but you'll find it does kind of go up quite fast.
It's definitely quite sensitive though.
Yeah, like I said, that's probably the hardest bit that I find with most people is just getting that, one, trusting yourself, and two, trusting the collar, because initially you're going to be like, oh, is this going to kind of I'm on a 30, is what's going to happen here? But just trusting, I'll talk to you about how those levels kind of work with his brain a little bit more in depth in a second, but trusting it's probably the key. Think about those levels on the collar as matching his brain. Okay, so for example, if you call him come, and he decides to completely not listen and he's distracted by something, the intensity on the collar needs to match how intense the dog is at that time. So it's just kind of in relation to what he's giving you. So what we'll do over the training is teach you to read him, so you can read, where he's stubborn, what to nick him for and what not to, and then you're well aware of kind of what you're doing and how the collar works. So the next thing we're going to talk about is house management, so the way you deal with them in the home. Okay, so this is probably one of the things I find people struggle with the most. The reason for that is a lot of it's based off our emotions. So when we base our decisions with the dog off emotions is when we have trouble. For example, if you haven't walked him or something, your emotions tell you he needs attention. The kind of attention you would give him would be cuddle him on the couch. So that's an emotion-based decision. Okay, those type of decisions is what creates problems in dogs. What I'll run through is like a basic structure for you guys to run off. This structure varies depending like on each dog, but I'm going to throw at you kind of like the most rigid structure that would be for like a perfect dog, and then you can just initially for the first week to 2 weeks I recommend following it. After that, if you find he's doing really well, you can start to give him a little bit more freedom. Okay, so it's like kids, like if they're grounded, you know, you rein them in, and then as they do better you slowly give them freedoms back. They play up again, you rein them back in a little bit, and you go like that. So that's pretty much what your job is going to be in the house, is just finding a balance of what's working for you guys and what keeps him in check. The first thing we talk about is rules and boundaries. The first boundary I always put in place is get the dog off the furniture. Putting a dog up high puts them in a place of where they feel like they need to kind of protect, and they scan a lot, they're alert, they tend to bark more at the window, and they're more hyperactive. Really good one is little fluffy dogs, like smaller dogs. If you think about most of them, they're always in the owner's lap, they're always sitting on the chair with them, same thing. Okay, so that's why we say no furniture. The next one is thresholds, which we'll go through during the training anyway, which is doorways. So crate doors, front doors, back doors. We just want to make sure he waits at those, but making sure he doesn't cross that boundary until you tell him to is a crucial part of the training. It's a massive thing for a dog's state of mind to be calm before they go through something. When they go through a door, it's actually, we call it an environmental reward. Okay, so it's actually a reward to the dog going through. So if you reward the dog when he's hyped up or he's like jumping at you, you're rewarding that behavior and that state of mind. The next one is crates. So do you have a crate for him? Perfect, easy. So just utilize the crate as like a management tool. I recommend he sleeps in there. If you had like a friend that came over that didn't like dogs, just chuck him in there because of the vibes they'll give off. Like he'll pick up on that. It doesn't matter what dog it is. If you come into my house and my dog's there and you're like, dog, the dog's more than likely going to be like, whoa, what the hell? You know, so just being in control of things and being a responsible owner and just going, yeah, I understand he's controlled and trained, but I don't want to put him in that situation. I'll just put him in the crate for now. So that's when I'd utilize it. Guy Fawkes, thunderstorms, things like that is going to help him cope with stress, so it becomes a safe place, so you just pop him in the crate.
He used to get quite anxious when he was put in it.
Okay.
And go to the toilet in there.
Yeah.
It's sort of like an attention-seeking sort of thing.
Shouldn't go toilet in there, but I do expect him to get a little bit anxious initially, just because it's a change of environment. Him going to the toilet in there, rescues, they generally get either left alone or, you know, there's a reason they've been rescued, I guess, been ditched or left in a whelping box or whatever, and they don't get to leave that environment. So they learn to go toilet where they kind of live, and then they generally learn to eat it too, is a common thing that happens. So they learn that off the mum. So what happens is if no one's cleaning up after them, the mum will clean up after them, which is a part of nature, but the puppies learn to do that too. And then that's where it kind of stems from. So what I'd recommend is taking him for a big walk. Just, I mean, today will be fine because you'll be super tired, but you'll do this training session. When you get home, just pop him straight in the crate and see how he does. Don't like make a fuss over it. If he starts to try escape or do anything silly, you just say, oi, and then a nick on the collar, and that'll just stop him straight away. I'll show you what I mean as we go through the training. You'll kind of get the gist of it. Oi is kind of like a stop doing what you're doing, settle down kind of command, and then the collar reinforces that. When he came to us, we found he didn't want to get in his crate. Did you find that too?
Yeah. Sometimes,
Yeah, I'd always have to get him in with treats.
Okay, so he should just jump straight in there now, like he should be quite compliant. Just go in your kennel and he'll just run in there. Expecting a little bit of anxious behaviour when you first take him home, potentially for the first half an hour, but just leave him alone and just leave him to chill out in there after this big session today. And then once he de-escalates, bring him out on his placemat, which I'll show you as well, and then back in the crate again, and just do that a few times so he gets used to coming out of it. He has to calm down before he comes out of the crate, and then once he's calm on the placemat, he can go back in the crate. And it's just getting him used to that, like, I'm in control of this, you know, this is just part of life now. The next big one is affection. And this is probably the one that people struggle with the most. So I guess the big thing is so remember I talked about like how we base our decisions off emotions. When we do that, that's where the kind of troubles kick in, I guess. I like to flip it on people, so by you kind of acting that way around the dog or treating the dog that way actually stresses the dog out. Okay, so that will play on your emotions slightly. So you're going to go, oh, like, yeah, I really want to treat him this way, but like what's best for him is to treat him this way because it's going to create a calmer, more relaxed, balanced dog, versus treating him this way is going to potentially make him anxious, go toilet in the crate and stress him out. So then your emotions are kind of met in a different way, if that makes sense. So what I recommend doing is having like a structure of he gets a walk, he gets a bit of training, he gets attention for what he needs, and then I can have what I need, which is the affection. So like rules and boundaries, structure, walking, exercise, and then affection kind of comes last, and that just keeps everything in check. So first interactions with him are a bad time to give him affection. So today when I bring him out, we're just going to ignore him for probably 15 minutes and just, I'm going to do some stuff around you guys, and just, he might try to jump on you a few times and be a bit excited, and I'll just kind of tell him, hey look, nah, this is a boundary to around your humans, like you can't just act this way. That's one part of it. The next one is when you sat down a lot, or you sat on the ground, he'd nuzzle into you, move into you, put his head on you, paw you, try jump on top of you. Yeah. Okay, so that type of behavior can create resource guarding. So resource guarding it's dominance related. So it's related to the dog feeling like he needs to control you and your space. So by not having enough structure around yourself and your space, creates a dog that can potentially react and bark on lead. Same with the house, he can react in the house from it. A common one is like after the training is, how much affection are you giving the dog, is generally the first thing I look at, and 9 times out of 10 they go, yeah, I didn't follow the rules, I did this, this and this, and that's when I found the dog did this. Having that boundary, like I said, is quite crucial, because you'll find that to be the defining factor of his behaviours regressing and his behaviours kind of staying where they are, and you having like a good relationship with him where he can have the freedom he kind of deserves. So at the end of the day, it's all about the dog and the dog's needs, not necessarily our needs, if that makes sense. Our space, so like I said, we'll go through some exercises. I'll get you guys to kneel down, you'll give them a bit of affection, and then we'll back them off from you as well. So we'll teach that boundary about your space. You'll be there to see it, so you can continue to keep that boundary. This is probably one of the biggest things that people struggle with, and I'll keep honing this in. Other times not to give him affection is when he's uncertain or anxious. So like if you did find him to get uncertain, like in a really high distraction area where he was stressed out or something, don't pet him. Okay, that's going to make it worse. That's going to encourage the behavior. What I'd recommend doing is just ignoring him, putting him in a down, which I'll show you as well. So down's like a relaxation position, and it calms his brain. So you can just go down and then wait for him to calm down. He'll yawn, generally soften up, and then you go, okay, sweet, he's starting to relax now, and then you can kind of carry on. So just no affection when he gets anxious. If he's whining at you, barking at you, no affection. Same thing, you're going to reward the behavior, make it worse, but it's not just the behavior, it's the state of mind that comes with it. It's same thing, it's related to kind of dominant behavior again. So new people coming to the door as well, same thing, structure's the key. Jill comes to the door, knock, knock, knock. Say he was to bark or rush the door, you'd tell him, oi, correct him. He'll just generally directly come back. So we've taught him when you correct him, he'll just move towards you, and then you can just tell him place. The level, same thing, the level has to match the intensity of the dog at that moment. So if he was barking, it would be higher. If he's just like interested, it'll be lower, which we'll go through as well. Alright, so what we'll do now is we'll bring him out, we'll go for a bit of a wander down the driveway. I'll just kind of rein him in a little bit. I'll probably let him go up to you guys, sniff you guys. They've got 3 triggers, so scent, sight, sound. So the scent of you is the first thing, he's going to look at you and then he's going to go, and that's going to trigger a response. So what I'm doing is I'm reconditioning that response. So when he sees you and he triggers into that mode of like, ooh, my people, I'm just going to de-escalate him. Okay, and all I'm going to do is give him a nick on the collar and de-escalate him a few times, and then his energy is going to come down, and once he's kind of relaxed around you, I'm going to give you the lead, and then we're going to start to work you through the lead walking and the training as well. Sweet, so I'll go grab him and I'll just meet you out on this concrete bit out here, and then we'll go from there.